I said, get me Roger Stone, and look who I have here. I have Roger Stone, local South Floridian, are in our midst today. He's been a figure in D.C., on the Washington circuit for a long time. New York Times best-selling author, the author of Stone's Rules, which is kind of a guide to live by. I am so glad that you're here, and I have so many questions for you, because you know I'm a huge fan.
I'm excited to be with you. How often do you get to be with Mrs. Florida? So let's do it.
Thank you so much. So what is your favorite Stone's Rule? I just got done reading the book.
Well, I guess there's a couple favorites. Mine, the two corollaries: lay low, play dumb, and keep moving. Admit nothing, deny everything, launch counterattack. Those would be two of my favorite maxims. Young people come to me all the time and say, how do I get in politics? How do I do what you do? The real answer is volunteer to begin with, at the lowest possible level. If you don't know how to elect a city councilman, if you don't know how to elect a county commissioner, then you'll never learn how to elect a president. And I think that just civic participation, getting in there as a volunteer, get your feet wet, become indispensable. When I was a kid, I used to go to the local Republican headquarters, and I would lock the folding chairs in a closet, and only I had the key. That way I knew whenever they wanted to have a meeting, they had to call me to unlock the door, and therefore I'd know when the meeting was.
Job
and
security.
I could sit there and listen, and I learned a lot by listening.
I mean, and you're an impeccable dresser, which there's a couple rules in the book that I love, because I always believe in kind of dressing for the job that you want.
Yes.
And that's always been a part of your personality and a part of your style, as I think from a very young age, you kind of embrace that as...
Well, people judge you on the way you look. It's a sad fact, and therefore you're exactly right. Don't dress for the job you have, dress for the job you want to have. Look good, feel good is the rule that we use in the book. And from a very early age, I was fastidious about my appearance, and I urge people to do that today. You don't need to spend a lot of money to look good. You have to be careful in your choices. You need to buy quality garments to begin with. Yes, they cost a little more, but if you take care of them, they will last you a lifetime.
So tell me about the Nixon tattoo.
Putting Nixon on my back was more of a daily reminder that in life, when things don't go your way, when you lose, when you strive greatly but you're defeated, when something you're really counting on doesn't happen the way you want it to, when you feel like defeated, well, then you have an obligation to get yourself up off the mat and get back in the game. The story of Nixon is a story of resilience, of persistence. It's an American story.
Yep.
That's what I admire about Nixon, that he would not be defeated, that he kept coming back. And of course, in my book, Stone's Rules, I use the famous man in the arena quote. The credit goes not to he who stands on the sidelines and points out how the man in the arena could have done better, but to the person who actually has the courage to get into the arena. That's why men and women who jump into a congressional race that is seemingly hopeless, who jump into a race for public office where the odds are against them, I admire these people.
Yeah,
the people who stand on the sidelines and say, oh, the odds are overwhelming, you can't win, why are you running? Those are the timid souls who will never know the great thrill of victory or the agony of defeat. We live in an extremely volatile time.
We do.
Voters' attitudes change quickly. We've seen that this week. And therefore, you can't win if you don't play.
Yeah. Well, and I play to win.
There you go.
I play to win.
Me too, as some people say.
Absolutely, and you really inspire people to do that. And that's what I love about Stone's Rule, and I love about the book, is it's an easy read. And there's so many things in there that when I read it, I kind of took away and I said, you know, I want to practice that in my everyday life. I'm not doing it already.
Well, the thing about this book is that it doesn't really matter what your politics are. You could be a conservative Republican Trump supporter, you could be a progressive Bernie Sanders supporter, or you could be not interested in politics whatsoever. There's something in this book for you. These are the rules of the road, just the experiences I've had in life in 40 years in the arena that I hope will help other people. It doesn't have an ideological bent. It doesn't matter whether you're in politics or business or media or fashion or agriculture for that matter. Anybody who's launching a career in the professional world can benefit from this book.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you're a PR genius, and I've said that from the beginning. Everything that I've read about you, everything I've seen, and I've recommended your book to a lot of people that I talk to about PR and marketing, because I think what you've done, again, it does cross party lines. It's amazing in your career to look back at your successes and all the negatives that you've turned into positives.
Well, people say, well, you're a self-promoter. Well, if you don't promote yourself, who will promote you? Right. If you don't blow your own horn, who will blow it? Politics is the art of inclusion, but it is also the art of self-promotion. If you have ideas, you need to go out there and yell them from the rooftop. In my case, it's getting harder and harder. As you know, I do a show on InfoWars every day at 5 o'clock. And InfoWars is undergoing an extraordinary campaign of censorship. You don't have to agree with Alex Jones on everything or anything for that matter,
right,
to recognize his right to speak and the fact that people who want to tune in should be allowed to. This idea that you can't see that's new in America. In other words, in the classic debate between liberals and conservatives, we used to have a debate, a civil debate. Now the response of the left is, shut him up, don't let him speak, don't let them speak, don't let her speak. And I find that objectionable. That's just raw censorship, and that's un-American.
But they're actually changing, I think, the opinions of voters in doing that too, where they have these people that are on the extreme left that want to shut everybody down. That's just the tactic now. They're online, they're keyboard warriors, and they're just going to shut everything down, rather than actually logically debate about what the issues are. So I think a lot of the moderates might come over to the Republican side.
Well, I think they have overplayed their hand. Also, their obviousness, I think, hurts them. So, for example, on Facebook, my Stone Cold Truth page probably has 150,000 followers.
Page.
During the election, if I posted something, I would get 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 reposts. Today, when I post something, I get 3 or 7.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good writer, so I don't think that's possible. And ultimately, only litigation is going to prove the manipulation of social media and the manipulation of Twitter, Facebook, all of them really, Instagram, where they decide what you can say. I put up a criticism of Hillary Clinton, or I put up a criticism of radical Islam on Instagram, and I get a nice message telling me that I violated their community standards. Well, you can criticize Jews, you can criticize Catholics, you can criticize white people, you can criticize pretty much everybody, but you can't criticize radical Islam. I'm sorry, this is a religion that abuses women, that abuses gay people, and I'm going to speak out against it. And if I get censored, so be it.
Listen, I've said before, I actually think there's a war on white men in this country in a lot of ways. And
We're seeing
that may not be politically correct for me to say it, but I see it with Kavanaugh, and I see it with a lot of the things that are happening.
We're seeing it before our very eyes. It's not surprising that you have the rabble in the streets that's paid for agitprop. These are stooges, these are leather-lung protesters who are being paid for. Not surprising to see them mouthing insanity. But when members of the Senate, who are members of the bar, who are learned attorneys themselves, make an accusation on the basis of no evidence, no proof, no eyewitnesses, well, then you see the politics of it. The politics of it is exposed. Does Chuck Schumer need George Soros' money so badly that he will stand up and lie, that he will oppose everything that he's understood his entire life?
Maybe, and time will tell. It certainly looks that way to me.
It appears that way.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me today. I want to give a shout out to the Riverside Hotel, this beautiful location where we're filming. For Eye on South Florida with Roger Stone, I'm Karyn Turk.